Hi, tonight we will be talking about my action research project and just specifically the problems that could arise with this study. We're going to start off with, of course, addressing the research questions, which is looking at how common core standards in the Maryland model for school readiness and the effect on how it measures what Hispanic and bilingual children actually know. And we will also be looking at if this model is actually helping to close the large achievement gap that there is between Hispanic students and their non-Hispanic counterparts. To look at that, we are going to be exploring how different teaching styles or reading programs affect and hopefully improve the literacy and reading skills of Hispanic kindergarteners, and what and where do the strengths and weaknesses lie in literacy and reading in Hispanic children. And all studies have difficulties and sort of limitations, and one limitation of the present study is the sample size. Primarily, we are looking at how the kindergarteners are performing using the MMSR for Maryland, but because we are looking at individual teaching styles, we have to look a little bit beyond the public school system. And it gets tricky to follow different philosophies in reading programs because when you look into private schools, cost becomes a factor as well. And traditionally, there is less representation of Hispanic students in these types of programs. And because the numbers could be so small, there might not show as great of an effect if we could have a large sample from the public school system. In addition, teaching styles has an effect on this study. There is a lot of variation between individual teaching styles and strengths and weaknesses. And because of the variation in teaching styles, the relationship between what teaching style is used and the effect on literacy and reading may not be as clear as it could be because of individual differences in strengths and weaknesses that teachers have as professionals. In addition, with the treatment groups, it sort of piggybacks onto teaching styles, is the actual effect of specific reading programs on the performance of literacy and reading measures. There's a lot of variation between teachers and just their interactions with students and how they will implement these reading programs. And teachers may have certain strengths or weaknesses that will affect the children and what they learn and pick up on. And that's something that will always exist in educational research because it is a people-centered field. There are also a lot of other variables that can impact reading and literacy scores, especially among Hispanic children or bilingual students, and that's if they are literate in Spanish as well. Their socioeconomic status can play a large portion or a large key in determining their literacy because it sort of feeds into what opportunities they have had growing up as far as services or even attending preschool or pre-kindergarten, or if they were watched by family members, and then their parents' literacy attainment and just school performance is also a predictor and a factor of affecting the child's literacy and reading scores as well. These are all things that we as researchers can't control because we can't control a child's life, but in this case we are not looking at those social factors. But to overcome these challenges, especially teaching styles, we will try to use different reading programs to see which programs have the best effect on students. And in terms of teacher interactions and implementation, there is a lot of variation between teachers and their interactions with students, but instead of solely relying on self-report, as researchers we will be going into the classrooms and observing and coding their responses as well, so it's a bit more neutral and objective. Every research project has problems, but it's our job as researchers to just control as much as we can to get at the heart of the matter. Are there any questions or comments? Thank you. Have a wonderful night.